I called the meeting to order for the Planning Commission for February 26, 2025. It is 6:30 now. Everyone who's here, thank you for joining us. You can't hear me very well?
Yeah,
It's on the microphone.
Okay, maybe it just needs to be a little
Closer to
closer.
the microphone. Is that
There.
better?
yes.
Okay. All right, staff, could we have a roll call?
Commissioner Woodward. Commissioner Williams.
Present.
Vice Chair Amir.
Here.
Chair DeFever.
Here.
Forgot just like.
Oh, and Commissioner Sai. I forgot he was here.
Here.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Sai is here as well. Okay, before we turn to noticed agenda items, we have an opportunity for general public comment. There is no one in the audience today for general public comment, at least present in this room. Do we have anyone on Zoom possibly, Chris, that you see that might want to make a public comment on something that is not appearing on tonight's agenda?
Chair DeFever, there are no public comments from the Zoom audience.
Okay, well, then we can move forward. No one has come forward for oral communications outside of what's on the agenda. Do we have a staff briefing today?
A very quick one. I just wanted to let the Planning Commission know that we have been in dialogue with TPC with respect to another meeting. It may be at the end of this month or the first meeting in April. They are actively working with the neighbors to figure out if they can reach an agreement before they come before you. So rather than sort of pushing the item before that is done, I'm going to give them as much time as possible to get to that point. That's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you, Dina. Does anyone have a question about that or any questions of the staff? Seeing none. The next thing on our agenda is to consider adoption of the minutes from January 22nd, 2025. It says 2024 on my agenda.
We'll correct that. And I do
Was
believe,
not
that Commissioner Williams had some comments, and so we're ready to make amendments.
Oh, only one, which is that I was in it currently reads that I wasn't in attendance that night, but I was, yeah.
You said that it says you weren't in attendance? Mike says you were in
At
attendance.
the top
Am I looking at the wrong thing?
of the minutes, the action minutes.
Actually, my action minutes say January 22nd. Wait a minute.
I do too.
Oh, yeah, January 22nd. Right here, right?
Oh,
No absences.
above that. Am I listed?
What?
Where it says those in attendance, present.
Oh, it doesn't list you as absent, but it doesn't list you as present
Exactly,
either.
exactly.
Okay.
I know, and I made a motion and I seconded a motion, but I like that. I'm neither here nor there.
I think we're having a problem like that with our commissioners tonight. So let's try to see if,
Actually, I want to stay in that, I want to stay in that gray zone.
We're not sure if Commissioner Size here either, so. Okay, now I see it. I'm like, it doesn't list you as absent. Okay, all right, you don't exist on January 22nd. All right, well, we definitely need to amend that portion.
We're making 2025 very exciting, though. I like that. Mixing it up a bit.
Does anyone have any other corrections or comments about those minutes? I did not either. They looked very well prepared. Very nice representation of the public's comments, which I know is difficult to distill down. All right, well, does someone want to move to approve
Sure.
these?
I'll make a motion to approve the January 22nd minutes with the change of Commissioner Williams.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have the motion in the second, and can we have a roll call, please, for the vote?
Commissioner Sai.
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Vice Chair Amir.
Aye.
Chair DeFever.
Aye. Okay, Our minutes have passed. So we move to the action items. Our public hearing, our only public hearing on the agenda tonight, PH1, the town-initiated update to the Tiburon Municipal Code. Article 4, urban lots, section 14-3.313, starting at that section, in chapter 14 on subdivision of land, and also section 16-77, 2-unit housing developments. And it's collectively under the umbrella of SB 9. So we're looking at recommending amendment to the existing SB 9 ordinance amending this is written funny, amending our own municipal code to be in line with the SB 9 ordinance to ensure compliance with the updates that came through from state law in SB 9. So we're going to review the updates pursuant to Government Code Section 66452.6 and Section 65852.2. Oh, and 66411-7AB 2221, and provide a recommendation to the town council. So I will turn to staff for a report on this.
Good evening, Chair and Planning Commissioners. This is probably the second or third time we've been before you for SB 9, which is now SB 450, since it was amended in 2024. So what you're going to do is the consideration of two different resolutions, one recommending that the town council repeal and replace the municipal code title 4, chapter 14, subdivision of land, section 14-3.313 regarding urban lot splits, and a resolution recommending that the town council repeal and replace the Tiburon Municipal Code, Chapter 4, Title 4, Chapter 16 zoning, Section 16-77.010 regarding 2-unit housing. So as I had stated, or you stated earlier, that in 2021, the state legislature did pass Senate Bill 9, what we now refer affectionately as SB 9, which allowed for the ministerial process to approve conversion of single-family homes into duplexes. It allowed single-family parcels to be split into 2 lots when they were normally a single parcel, permitted a 2-unit building to be developed on a new lot, and authorize the objective zoning, subdivision, and design standards so that they would not conflict with any new housing opportunities. So in other words, to streamline and make it easier. Subsequently, on September 19th, 2024, the governor signed Senate Bill 450, which amended SB 9. So we now refer to it as 450. And the changes I have outlined in our report, but just so you know, the applications now must be approved or denied within 60 days. If the application has not been approved or denied within those 60 days, the project is deemed approved. We removed any of the jurisdiction's ability to deny a proposed duplex based on a finding of an adverse impact. It prohibits the imposition of objective design standards that are not applied uniformly to other developments in the underlying zone, and that we can apply objective design standards as they're related to the design or improvements of the parcel, and that it removed the restriction that we had before in SB 9 that to allow for the demolition of more than 25% of the existing walls of the structure to be considered for a ministerial review. We had, if it was more than that, we were moving it on to a discretionary review, trying to find my words. So as I stated earlier, there are 2 sections of the code that will be recommended for amendment, and those are the ones dealing with urban lot splits and 2-unit housing. And so I've provided sort of an outline for what was changed. You have in your packet the red line and the clean copy. And I do apologize that Exhibit 4, this is for the public so that they know, Exhibit 4, the red line was not in the packet. I provided it to the commissioners tonight for them to review, as well as copies in the back for the public. That was just, it doesn't change anything. It just allows for the commission to have a copy so they can compare and contrast where we might have added other items. So what we're asking you tonight is to hold a public hearing and consider all testimony, make any revisions as appropriate, and move to recommend the approval of the resolution recommending approval of the draft ordinance repealing and replacing Title IV, Chapter 14 subdivision of land, and Section 14-3.313 urban lot splits to the town council. And that was found in Exhibit 1 of the packet. And then move to recommend approval of the resolution recommending approval of the draft ordinance repealing and replacing Title IV, Chapter 16 zoning, Section 16-77010, 2-unit housing to the town council. And that was provided in your packet as Exhibit 2. And I am certainly available. I don't really think there's anything that is more substantive that you need to know about. We did add development standards and some other things that make it clearer for the applicants, but nothing that didn't either follow state law or just make for ease of reading. And with that, I'm here for questions.
Do any commissioners have questions before we check if we have anyone from the public and we open the public hearing?
Yeah, I have a question.
All right, Commissioner Amir?
Yeah, just on the demolition standard, so can you clarify? So now, if we demolish 50%, then it's no longer, so it's just,
It's still ministerial.
it's just still ministerial. So it's like, it basically makes it a lot easier. I
It does.
guess.
Yes, it does.
That's pretty significant. Okay.
It's what the state law is requiring us to do.
Yeah, this is the state law now.
Mhm. Yes, it is.
25% is the state law. Okay,
We're actually implementing what SB 450 required us to do.
right. Okay.
Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, Commissioner Say.
I have several no, I'm just kidding. I actually only have one question. Is there anything in the red lines that's in the packet that reflects anything discretionary on our part versus what was just technically required by SB 450? That's not a function of what's required
No.
or prohibited by SB 450.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. I mean, we added, if you look at the development standards, we added those, and we just did that because we didn't put that in the last time. And we wanted to make it pretty clear for people when they came in. We do have people who come in and ask about these questions. And so we felt it was clearer and more streamlined to do it in that manner, but we haven't changed anything with respect to the discretionary review.
I see that for 2-unit housing developments for the objective development standards, you add text in for clarity and then other provisions are eliminated. Is that to be in line with state law? Yep.
This is on, just because they're not uniformly applied to the underlying zoning.
Exactly.
And there
Okay.
are a lot of those. I mean, I
Ah.
think even up to, lighting or things like that were removed. And it's such a stringent, it's drafted the way that we can't impose anything that's not uniformly applied to the underlying zoning,
Right.
which is really, it was tricky.
Yeah, that's what I had assumed, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could see more of those strike throughs in the 2-unit development section. as opposed
Exactly.
To the urban lot split.
Yeah, I don't really see any in the other, yeah. On for the urban lot splits at the under purpose and intent, 14-3.313, the new paragraph that's added, where it begins with owners of real property or their representatives. The second sentence seems to be an incomplete sentence, but maybe that's just that I'm reading,
One that says to accomplish this purpose, the regulations outlined, this one or?
so this is,
Oh,
owners of
I
real
see, I see.
property, it's the second sentence within that paragraph, development applications that do not satisfy the definitions for an urban lot split provided in Article 4, period.
you're right. That is,
That period needs to be
I
removed.
think so, yeah, because that would make it
'Cause it-
consistent with.
Because
the
it would
other
make it
section
then,
of the
yes,
other-
yes. Okay, we will do that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that we open for the public hearing because then we do have a chance to ask more questions after we do that. So if we can open, I'm going to open the public hearing, and we are aware that there's no one in the room with us that would like to speak because it's just the staff and the planning commission, unless Francisco has a question. Our loyal reporter, he says he does not. Chris, can you please check the Zoom to see if there are any public comments?
Chair DeFever. Chair DeFever, there are no public comments on the Zoom audience.
Okay, then I'm going to close the public hearing and come back to the commissioners, and we can continue if anyone had a question they didn't ask, or any of the more detailed elements that you may want to discuss. I did, before we get into it, I did notice there's on the, this is just editing, the urban lot splits on page, well, this is page 3 of the redlined version. So it's under 14-3.317. Section B, there's no number 5. Number 5 got.
There is, it's just at the tail end of 4.
Where? Oh, oh, yeah, you need to hit enter there and make sure number 5 has its own line then. Okay.
That happened in a couple of instances. There are a couple places throughout both sets where it kind of runs into the next subsection, and that could just be a red line.
I think it's a
Or-
red line. I
yeah.
think we should check and make sure, we'll check and make sure that the ordinance is properly enumerated.
Yeah, it'll look different once you make, well, it probably looks different in the version just after that, and I didn't notice if it was missing in the version right after as well. Okay. All right, anyone have any other questions, comments, discussion from the commissioners? I had a kind of detailed question. Just for my own curiosity, where is it? There's a term in here I've never heard before. Oh, here it is. What is a flag/corridor lot?
So a flag lot would be something that looks like a flag, right? You have a larger portion and then the skinnier, the one that comes down. So that would be the corridor piece and then the flag.
Oh,
So it's just a form of a lot.
okay.
And sometimes it's a little more difficult when people want to split those because of how do you do that? Where's the access? Who takes where from what? So it has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, those would be more tricky to split.
They're much more tricky. We don't have as many here. There are a few in some cul-de-sac areas I've seen, but most of what we see are long skinnier lots or really wide, long lots. That's more of a corridor access. The flag lot would be actually having like the full lot and then another piece of that lot. You might get access without a joint access, although it could happen that way, that they share an easement upon that strip. But normally most people get access, or it's just sort of like, almost like a remainder piece that they subdivided in some odd fashion.
I also wanted to ask, in the same section, under C1, lot mergers, it says lots resulting from an urban lot split shall not be merged unless that lot merger can be done without loss of housing units and without causing a non-conforming building lot or use. So does this mean after it's split, it cannot be reconsolidated back to one? And is that in perpetuity? Was that language that came from the state? It's very interesting.
I think it
as-
also could be, when I look at this, you're not allowed to create anything that takes away housing, basically.
Right. Right, but making laws that are meant to last forever is never a good idea.
But we've been coming back here 3 times now for this SB 9, SB 450. I will probably be back at a TV channel near you shortly as well.
Yeah, what about the law against perpetuities? Yeah. Anyway, I'm just curious, yeah. we know these things are subject to change, but I thought it was interesting language. Anyone else have any comments, questions?
I have another
Commissioner
quick
Sa-
question. So in urban lot splits 14.3.316, there is the removal of a subsection. It was old section, well, whatever. It's what is redlined is, I guess, subsection D. What's been redlined out is subsection 2, which is a parcel that is in a historic district. So, and this all pertains to the section on proposed urban lot splits that are not eligible for approval, right? So it takes out historic district lots. I don't know that we have many, if any, in Tiburon, but this removal would take this out as a prohibition for purposes of what can be done, and that's a function of state law. This is no longer a permissible basis.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on that.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think we can. I just thought.
I thought
my
we don't-
understanding that the town.
I
was-
thought we
doesn't have
can't.
any-
We don't have any, and that's why. So the
Right.
reason why we took it out is because we don't have any. But I thought we weren't allowed to have that in there as well.
I mean, I guess the issue is that we may not have any today, but we might have some in the future. So,
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Council.
Allow this, so, the parcel to be subdivided, has to meet certain requirements, and one of them is that it's not in a historical zone, and that's a state law, sort of the historical, certain properties, there's a whole process of designating them under state law. So it's my understanding that this town does not have such properties, and so I think it might have been removed as part of just the application, but under state law, we are allowed to, we are allowed to deny subdivisions of historic property. To be subdivided, it has to not be in historic district, or it has to not be in a historic lot or building. So we can put that back in if we want under state law.
I mean, I would be in favor of keeping it in only because it's difficult to
Mhm.
predict with any precision as to whether there might be some. I think there's even one or more in Belvedere, which suggests to me that at some point in time, Tiburon could probably have one or more too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Good catch.
See, I have a purpose here today.
I'm so glad you came. We're so glad you came.
To protect historical properties.
Be specific of where that is in the red line to make sure I,
Sure, that's located on page 3 of 5,
uh-huh,
of exhibit 3.
right,
And you'll find it at the top of page 3 of 5.
okay. So you want to keep that in,
Right, the
Okay.
language that says the parcel to be subdivided
Okay.
is located ...
okay. Do you have a problem with that?
No, it's
Okay.
in state law. I mean,
Yeah,
that's word for
okay.
word in state law.
Yeah,
Okay, moving to, I was looking at the resolution language before we vote on the resolution. There's a typo under the whereas on the first page. It says tow unit instead of 2 unit. First paragraph, second to last line.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I don't think I have any questions about the resolution. Does anyone want to make any comments about the resolution in front of us? I don't have a question. Oh, sorry, the chapter 14 one. Sorry, that's right. There's 2 of them. Actually, the typos in both of them now that I look at it. I missed it the
it's
second
my
time.
bad typing, I'm sure.
Well, Autocorrect would not catch that. That's a real word. It's just the wrong word. Okay. All right. Do any commissioners feel comfortable moving to approve one or both of the
I'll,
resolutions?
I'll move to recommend approval of the resolution recommending approval of the draft ordinance repealing and replacing Title 4, Chapter 14, Section 14-3.313 regarding urban lot splits to the town council. And in the same motion, I would recommend approval of resolution recommending approval of the draft ordinance repealing and replacing Title 4, Chapter 16, zoning, Section 16-77.010 regarding 2-unit housing developments to the town council.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Do you have any comments about CEQA in that motion?
I will move, yes. A motion finding that the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance and the accompanying standards are statutorily exempt from further review under CEQA.
Great, thank you. Dina?
And we just want to note, we're going to make the changes as were presented
Thank
with
you.
respect to
Subject to,
the spelling errors and to the historic districts. So make sure that we have that in there
as part of the motion.
as part of the motion.
Yes.
Okay, so the changes are part of the motion. Do I have a second for the motion?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Woodward. Can we have a roll call vote, please, Chris?
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Amir,
Aye.
Commissioner Sai,
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward,
Aye.
Chair DeFever.
Aye. Okay, I think that concludes everything on our agenda, and I can call the meeting to a close. Anyone? Nothing? Okay, the meeting is officially called to a close. We are adjourned.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all.